there. So while I'm waiting to get my full recreation of Let Him Run Wild up, I thought I'd do a little fill-in video here. All I'm waiting for Let Him Run Wild is to get my hands on a real vibraphone, which I should be able to do. It's just a question of when. So hopefully that'll be coming up real soon. But in the meantime, I've been really enjoying listening to the horn tracks for various summer days and summer nights cuts that I've been working on. I thought I'd just make this little video about the sort of evolution of the technique that Brian is using for saxes and horns during this album. So there's two ways that Brian uses the sax. There's the sort of rock and roll lick, and then there's the sort of long pads. So what I mean by long pad is when 2 or 3 saxes all play long notes together to make a chord. It's kind of like a backing vocal. So and then the other way is the sort of rock and roll lick, and I think that's really well exemplified right off the bat on summer days with the Girl from New York City lick, which I'll try to play for you now. I'm a little rusty on it, but let's see how I do. Just really evokes 50s Steve Douglas rock and roll. Gotta figure out the fingering there. Anyway, you get the idea. It's a repeating line in a bluesy rock and roll idiom. And that just kind of goes the whole song, and there's no contribution to the chordal harmony of the song like there is in other tracks, which we'll get into in a second. I'm going to pull up a bunch of other horn sections that I've been working on. Before we go over there, just to reiterate, Let 'Em Run Wild full recreation will be coming up soon. Just got to get my hands on a real vibraphone. If you want to help be a friend to the channel, you can like and subscribe. And if you really want to be a friend of the channel, got to get a bass saxophone for California Girls and some other tracks that are coming up. I would really like to be able to follow through with using real instruments whenever possible to continue to show the physicality and the material components of a record made in the mid-60s. So if you'd like to donate to the Bass Saxophone Fund, www.jocelyn.com. There's a donate page there. That would be awesome. Otherwise, just thank you for watching, and let's go talk about some more horns. Right. Okay, so I've pulled up some of my horn sections that I've been working on for a bunch of the Summer Days tracks, and I thought I'd just really briefly show you the different approaches that Brian would take to writing for horn sections. So let's start with amusement parks, where we have a really similar concept to the Girl from New York City that I just played, where it's just a riff the whole time pretty much. 2 bari saxophones in unison. Play the same thing. It's kind of partly a bass line, partly like a rock and roll lick. And then they play the little
turnaround. So, and then let's see. Play the little lick at the end too. Alright, so that's, very simple. Just one line. Could have been played with one horn, but Brian chose to have two just to kind of give it a little more substance. So from there, one direction to take it is in the way that Salt Lake does. What Salt Lake City does is kind of the same thing going on in amusement parks with the two bari saxes playing sort of a hybrid bass line / classic rock and roll sax lick, but adds two more voices on top of that in the form of another saxophone, a tenor sax, and a trumpet. So let's hear that. So we have the baris doing the riff. And the other horns are on top of that. And then they come together. And have that nice classic BW horn pads. Here's the solo, I think. One bari. Now two baris. And those other two instruments just playing those long notes on top. Long held out notes over the riff. So that's one direction you can go in. Now on Let 'Em Run Wild, which we'll be hearing the full thing shortly, we have a lovely and very powerful mixture of the long pads and then real powerful bari sax doubling the bass riff in the choruses. So let's hear a little of this. It builds slowly. Saxes. Another sax. And then the big explosion. So we have three horns doing the long lines. And for the second time through, it gets a little more. Brian brings in a few more voices here. So he brings in a trumpet and a second tenor playing a more complex harmony. And you can hear the bari sax playing the bass riff there. Alright, so that's cool. We'll hear more of that in just a little bit when I get the whole track up. Now let's talk a little bit about California Girls. I don't want to give too much of it away yet because it's really cool. I'll just tease you with the intro. I'm just going to tease you. That's all I get to hear that. And then, so California Girls is kind of a nice contrast to the three things that we've just heard, because there's more movement and a little more of an intricate arrangement. During the choruses, we get these nice eighth note honks on the low saxes. Haven't quite cleaned up the performance yet. And here's the second verse. Got that nice rhythmic movement. Let's go to the tag. Again, that rhythmic punctuation, it's following Brian's vocal arrangement to some extent. So I love that arrangement, and looking forward to getting it all perfect for you when that time comes around. Don't forget that that song desperately needs a real bass saxophone for me to play. So if you feel like contributing to the Bass Saxophone Fund, you can do that on my website, www.joshlin.com. Otherwise, do the usual YouTube subscription-like things if you want to be made aware of when new videos come up. And like I said, the Let Him Run Wild full recreation with video of me playing everything will be up as soon as I can get my hands on a vibraphone. Till then, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.